Okay, good evening and welcome to the Planning Advisory Board meeting of May 3rd, 2023. We appreciate your flexibility with the rescheduling of this meeting, which was due to unfortunate and unavoidable circumstances. I'm glad that we're all able to be here tonight. So let's begin, and we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance led by Member Castellane.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Byrne, please call the roll.
Chairman Stanko?
Here?
Member DiLeonardo?
Here.
Member Chabina?
Here.
Member Warner?
Here.
Member Castellane?
Here.
Member Byrne is here. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Okay, good, thank you. Format for the meeting this evening includes a presentation from the applicant and applicants tonight, questions and comments that the board may have, and then any interested parties may speak on the application. And we ask that anyone who speaks, please state your name and address for the record. We have two agenda items this evening, 125 New South Road in Hicksville and 915 South Oyster Bay Road in Bethpage. Pictor Nassau Logistics Center, 125 New South Road in Hicksville, New York, 11801. The applicant is seeking the site plan approval from the Planning Advisory Board in accordance with the town's site design standards. This site application involves the construction of a one-story, approximately 207,237 square foot overall warehouse building with associated site improvements. The proposed use for the property is a permitted use pursuant to Chapter 246, Table 5.2 of the Code of the Town of Oyster Bay. Member Byrne, do we have any correspondence on this item?
Yes, Chairman. We have a memo from the Zoning Division dated August 20th, 2021, stating the subject property located at 125 New South Road, Hicksville, New York, 11801, has a Nassau County land map designation of Section 46, Block N, Lots 30 and 31, and is located within the LI Light Industry Zoning District. We have a memo from the Department of Environmental Resources dated February 21st, 2023, recommending the adoption of a negative declaration for the purposes of SEQR. We have a memo from the Code Enforcement Bureau dated August 24th, 2021, stating there are no open code cases on the subject property. Chairman, since this memo is several months old, the Planning Division contacted Code Enforcement this week, and there are no open code violations. We have a memo from the town's Department of Public Works Highway Division dated September 20th, 2021, and the Engineering Division dated March 17th, 2022, stating they've reviewed the site plans and have no objections. We have a letter from the Long Island Railroad stating they take no exception to the project. We have resolution number 10,520-23 adopted on March 30th, 2023 from the Nassau County Planning Commission recommending local determination for this project. We have a memo from the Planning Division dated April 10th, 2023 stating the required parking for the subject property is 648 spaces and 688 parking spaces have been provided. We have a memo from the Planning Division dated April 10th, 2023, stating the division has conducted a review in accordance with Chapter 246, Section 6, Site Plan Review of the Code of the Town of Oyster Bay, and is referring the site plan to the Planning Advisory Board for appropriate action. And we have the affidavit of sign posting and the affidavit of mailing from the applicant.
Okay, thank you very much. You're on.
I'm up. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Judy Simoncic with the firm of Forcelli, Deegan, Tirana, with offices at 333 Earl Ovington Boulevard in Uniondale, appearing on behalf of the applicant, Pictor Nassau Logistics Center, LLC. Pictor Nassau is an affiliate of Brookfield Properties, which is a publicly traded company headquartered in New York City. First, I want to thank the board for making the ability and the time of scheduling this meeting in advance of its regularly scheduled meeting, which is next week. We really appreciate that, and we're happy to see Member DiLeonardo. You're back, and you seem to be okay. We're happy to see you, and we wish everybody well. And it was a rough. We were very worried about you and your father, and we appreciate that everybody's here tonight, and thank you for making these arrangements. With me this evening is Tyler Mortis. He's Senior Vice President of Development at Brookfield Properties. Lou DiGiacomo, who's Senior Associate of Development at Brookfield Properties. Chuck Utchig, the professional engineer with Langen Engineering who prepared the plans before the board this evening. We also have Alec Valoria, our traffic engineer with Langen, and Lauren Delginko from Rue Engineering, as well, and Frank Cherna from Rue Engineering. We won't be presenting all of those people, but they're here available for any questions. So we're here tonight seeking site plan approval for a property known as 125 New South Road in Hicksville. The premises is a vacant 15.1 acre parcel of land and it's zoned a light industry. Warehouse, as you indicated in your initial comments, is permitted use as of right in the LI district. Now, this is my first time working with the technology at the town, but I assume you
Us
see
too.
what's on there.
Us too.
I have the controls,
We have
so
ba-
hopefully
we
I'll
have
be able to
backup.
work it out. So you should be looking at your screens right now, what we see on the TV, which is an aerial photo showing the zoning of the premises and the surrounding area. The property is in the center of that aerial, and as you can see, the area in yellow is all of the light industry zoning that surrounds this property. So we are really predominantly in a light industry area of the town. The property is bounded, as you can see on the south, by the Long Island Railroad. That's a main line of the Long Island Railroad. And we're surrounded by other industrial and commercial uses. The closest residences, which are to the south across the Long Island Railroad tracks, are the area in blue. Those properties are zone R16, and I would just point out for the record that the nearest home to the proposed warehouse building is over 600 feet away. So now I'm going to see if this works. Okay. So the slide that you're seeing now is an aerial photo from about 1980. It shows that this property was historically used in accordance with this industrial designation. It was actually the site of the Hooker Chemical Corporation, which used this property for industrial manufacturing from 1945 to 2002. In about the early 2000s, the site was demolished. It was remediated. This was a former Superfund site, so it was remediated with the oversight of the EPA and the New York State DEC. The next aerial that you'll see before you is what the current conditions are of the property today. So the property is currently vacant. It has very little landscaping except for about 15 trees. So what we're proposing to construct is a 207,237 square foot state-of-the-art spec warehouse building. In terms of the floor area, it's broken down with 12,400 square feet of office space and the balance of warehouse. The proposed development fully complies with the town's LI dimensional requirements, and it's also in accordance with the site design standards in the town code, section 246-7. Before I introduce our professional engineer, Chuck Ukchik, to go through the site plan, I just want to talk a little bit about Brookfield Properties and also about the history of this project itself. So Brookfield Properties is one of the world's largest real estate managers. They provide development and management services for all major real estate asset classes. Their primary goal is to own, operate, and develop high-quality real estate properties within all sectors of the real estate market. They own about 45 million square feet of space throughout the United States, and they are in various stages of development of another 25 million square feet. Now, with respect to the Northeast, Brookfield is developing about 8 million square feet of space and currently over the next 2 years. With respect to this particular property, in 2021, Brookfield saw this site as an opportunity to develop a Class A warehouse building. Brookfield acquired the property from New South Road Realty, and the board may be aware that at that time there was an application pending before the town board for a special permit to develop the property with about 2,600 vehicles, all outdoor storage, construction equipment, buses, cars, etc. When Brookfield purchased the property from New South, that application was withdrawn. Shortly thereafter, Brookfield filed an application with the town in August of 2021 to develop the property. I'm going to go to the next screen. To develop the property with 2 warehouse buildings. Now, at that time, those 2 warehouse buildings fully complied with the town's LI zoning requirements, and we were proposing at the time over 300,000 square feet of warehouse. The proposal had undergone extensive review with DER and Planning and Development for about a year. Brookfield obviously spent a lot of time and substantial capital towards that zoning approval. And in summer of 2022, just when we were ready to have a hearing before this board, the town revised its parking requirements for warehouse uses, and it became more restrictive. The code went from 1 space for every 1,000 square feet of gross floor area to 1 space for every 500 square feet of gross floor area. So this essentially doubled the parking requirements for this development. The town also added a requirement for 1 space for every vehicle, plus 1 per driver of every vehicle with the size of space to be commensurate with the vehicle being stored on the site. So as a result of the code amendments, Brookfield was essentially left with no choice but to revise its plans, and what we did was we eliminated, as you can see on the site plan before you, there was a building that was it was 98,000 square feet. We were forced to eliminate that building in order to comply with the new parking requirements, which brings us to the plan that's before the board this evening. What we're proposing now is a single building that's 207,000 square feet, 207 and change, consisting of, as I said, 12,400 square feet of office and 194,000 square feet of warehouse space. We went from 370 parking spaces, 76 spaces, to now we provide 648. This plan still does fully comply with the town's dimensional requirements for the light industry district. And just some features that I would go over with this plan. We're proposing 630 new dense plantings for the site. There will be, as you can see on the plan before you, we have over 75-foot depth of landscaping buffer along New South Road, and we also have 25 feet along the railroad tracks. We're proposing a 6-foot-high PVC fence along the boundary of the parking lot and buffer areas to provide adequate buffering between New South Road and the proposed development. Brookfield is very proud that this project will be LEED certified. Their goal in most of the projects is to ensure that they're LEED certified, so this will be LEED certified. We also incorporate a number of the climate smart principles that the town looks for, such as solar and EV charging stations. And what's great about what Brookfield is doing in this site, and they've done it in other sites in Long Island, is that the architectural design of this building really looks like an office building. It doesn't look like your traditional warehouse that doesn't have windows and doesn't have architectural features. So we're really, this building will look like an office building, and you'll see later in the presentation the architecturals and the renderings. It really is going to be a beautiful building. And more important, above and beyond that, it's going to be a state-of-the-art facility, which is something that's really beneficial to Brookfield and to the town of Oyster Bay. So if the board doesn't have any questions of me, what I'd like to do now is have Chuck Uchig go through the site plan in more detail, talk about access, circulation, lighting, landscaping, et cetera.
Did you say that once you mentioned Hooker Chemical, you had my
Yes.
attention?
Sorry. Yes,
Did you say that it was totally
totally
remediated?
remediated. There is monitoring, but it's been totally
And you have a
remediated
certificate from the state or?
from the
DEC?
EPA and the DEC. It's been fully remediated, and it's under oversight. And we do have our environmental consultants here if you
You
have
have
specific
monitoring on the
questions.
site?
Yes.
Question? Anybody else? No? Okay.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the board. For the record, my name is Chuck Uchig. I'm a licensed professional engineer in the state of New York. I'm a senior associate with the firm Langen Engineering, and my team was responsible for developing the set of site civil drawings that you'll be looking at tonight, and hopefully I describe in a way that helps you understand what we're proposing. As Judy said, we started this project with a much more significant development intent. We got caught up in a set of changes in your zoning code, which almost tripled the requirements for parking for this type of use. And it landed us with a plan that has a single building, 650-plus parking spaces, 37 loading docks, and 38 trailer drops. So we have a significant amount of asphalt that goes along with this 207,000 square foot building.
To orient you to our drawings, so north is up, just so that as I reference these, we'll all be going in the same direction. Commerce Place is to the north of our site. New South Road is to the west. Southwest is the railroad. And then on the east and north side is basically other industrial development, which Judy, indicated basically surrounds our site almost completely. Access to our project will be at 3 locations, 2 off of Commerce and 1 off of New South Road. The driveway off of New South Road is intended for vehicles only. So the design and the traffic study analysis, which one of my colleagues will talk about in a little more detail later, was based on the premise that trucks will come into Commerce and enter the first driveway, which is basically will lead them to the truck court. The second driveway on Commerce, which is a little further in, takes you to the parking that's on the opposite side of the building. So the way this building is designed is you have your loading docks, your trailer drops on the one side, you have parking on the other side, and in the case of your new code, we have a bunch of additional parking that we placed where the old building was. So 3 access points, and again, my colleague will talk a little bit more about the traffic distribution later on in the presentation. Through the review process with your staff, we've developed a very detailed stormwater management system for this site. It includes 1,400 underground engineered units that we use to store stormwater runoff and allow it to infiltrate into the ground. So there's an extensive drainage system, series of catch basins and pipes, collect the runoff from all the developed area, directed to this system, which is located underneath the parking lot, similar to what dry wells give you, except it's a more efficient approach using newer technology to accomplish the same goal. So we infiltrate our stormwater into the ground, and we've demonstrated that we're able to infiltrate up to 9 inches or the 100-year storm into the ground. So there'll be no runoff from this site affecting adjacent properties. Your drainage experts and staff have reviewed our stormwater pollution prevention plan, the SWIP, which is a document that we prepared in accordance with New York State DEC guidelines. They've reviewed it and found it to be in compliance both with state requirements and your local drainage requirements. The utility aspects of this site are pretty straightforward. It's one of the things about warehouses, it's not really complicated. There's one sewer service that we run out to the existing infrastructure in Commerce. The water is a little more complicated because of fire protection. This site, we have a 8-inch water main that loops around the entire building, and we have 5 hydrants strategically located around the building to provide the necessary perimeter fire protection, and then the building has a state-of-the-art sprinkler system. All of this has been reviewed by both the Hicksville Fire Department and Nassau County Fire Chief, and found our design to be acceptable. So we've covered the sewer, we've covered the water, covered the drainage. Lighting on this site is comprised of 2 height poles, a 14-foot high pole and a 24-foot high pole. The 14-foot high poles are around the perimeter of the site, and that's to keep the lights down around the perimeter, trying to lessen this potential effect of lights. The higher poles are actually in the middle of the site, and the reason we do that is because the span that we have to accommodate a truck dock, the circulation road, and a trailer drop, which ends up being about 180 plus feet, is a fairly long distance to get adequate light coverage. So we need those higher poles in close to the building. So it was designed specifically with a recommendation from your staff that we take that approach. So a majority of the perimeter lights are 14 feet. All the lights are high efficiency LED lights. They're all designed to limit, they're called dark sky compliant, and the perimeter lights all have cutoff shields. So we have a lighting distribution plan as part of our set that demonstrates that we comply with your lighting requirements. We've designed it in a way not to have any light spillage outside of our property. The other thing that we were asked to do as part of our DER environmental analysis was a noise study. We retained a consultant who performed a noise study. They established the ambient noise levels around the site. They overlaid anticipated noise from this type of a use, which they are very familiar with. And not surprisingly, the conclusion was that the ambient noise that exists around this site, given the 60-plus trains that go by, the industrial uses that surround this property, the traffic that you have on New South Road, that the traffic and noise that would be added by our use really wouldn't be distinguishable above the existing ambient noise that exists around the site. And we have submitted a study that demonstrates this. And I believe the conclusion from, again, your staff's review is that, in fact, we will not have an adverse noise effect as a result of this project. I think the other thing that's I'd like to talk about in a little bit more detail is the extensive landscaping plan that we've put forth for this project at the urging of your staff and the willingness of Brookfield to do so. Purposely, the building was put all the way on the east side of this site, furthest away from New South Road, the railroad tracks, and that little point of residential that does come up to New South Road. As part of that, we ended up with a substantial buffer along New South Road, about 85 feet from the edge of our pavement to our property line, and over 25 feet from the edge of the railroad right-of-way to where we have our edge of pavement. In those areas, we've planted 635 trees and shrubs, and these aren't small 1-inch, 2-inch trees. These are 4-inch caliper trees. At planting, they'll be between 10 and 15 feet high. The evergreens that are part of that will be planted at 8 to 10 feet at time of planting. And woven within that, specifically placed along the New South Road side, is an opaque fence to help screen the cars at the lower level. So when you look into this site, which is kind of a perspective from an aerial point, you can kind of see, we're looking in across the railroad tracks and New South Road, and just kind of left center, you can see the buffer that I was talking about that's along the road. That's where the substantial trees are at. We've tried to plant along the railroad tracks. So the goal was to create this screen along those two property lines so that from public ways, New South Road, for example, this will be heavily screened as you looked in. And over time, we believe that, in fact, the building will be almost completely screened from New South Road. This is a perspective. The first thing in this view is New South Road, and again, over the railroad tracks. And you can see, now this growth is between about 5 years of growth on what we planted. And if you look closely, you can see through and maybe pick out the building, but for the most part, I think we've accomplished our goal, and that was to create a screening plan or planting plan that greatly screens this building from the public way. So those are the kind of the main points of the plan. And unless you have specific questions of me, I'd like to pass it off to Lou, who's going to talk a little bit about what the building looks like.
Excuse me, what's your hours of operation?
So we are going to apply for a variance to allow 24-hour operation. That's typically a warehouse-type facility will want 24-hour operations, and there's a couple of kind of interesting underlying reasons why. And one of the ones that we like to put out the most is that typically our trucks don't want to operate during peak hours. We want to operate during off-peak hours. They don't want to be stuck in traffic. So part of the reason why that happens is because goods come and go at off hours, and there's not a huge, our distribution of traffic is pretty even, but our tenants typically need that 24-hour operation, but we do have to apply for a variance in order to get that.
Go ahead.
Just a question on the future solar. Is there a calculation in there? Do you have enough space for that on future?
So the structural engineer designs, Brookfield tasked us with designing the structure so it can accommodate solar on the roof. We go one step further. and they also task us with making sure that we've left enough room on the ground for a transformer,
Okay.
and they've left space in the building to accommodate the electrical gear that goes with solar from the roof to get it into the system. So I think the answer to your question is, they go all the way on this,
Yeah, I'm looking at that.
yes.
How many days per week? 6 days, 7 days, 5 days?
So the best way that I can say this is 24/7, 365. These
Okay.
operate constantly. I mean, tenant fluctuation will affect that, but generally, these facilities run all the time.
Okay. No, I was just concerned, just going to ask if the property's going to be locked at closing. Is it going to be locked, or, so you don't need to
We don't,
worry about it?
we don't need that. There's always somebody there. Sometimes Brookfield will ask us to fence around for control purposes, depending on locations. Usually when we're in this industrial area that we're surrounded by other industrial uses, the issue of security becomes a little less important.
Okay. Anybody
The,
else?
I'm not going anywhere, so if you have more
No,
questions, I'll come back. I'll let the other folks finish our presentation maybe, and then we can come back and do the question that you have, or go ahead, I'll be glad to.
Along the railroad,
Yes.
you have evergreen plantings there, I assume?
Yes,
I didn't look closely at the site plan and this, but I think this gives me my answer. Normally, we've requested that the trees be staggered and not just put in one line. I mean, is that your intention?
yes.
Okay, because,
So we've-
if you lose one in the middle, everything goes, so.
Right.
Okay,
We do not like the idea of running them like a line of soldiers.
right,
So our landscape architects tend to group them and stagger them, and we try to leave enough room so that they can have almost a two-layer effect,
right.
which we feel becomes the most effective if you're really trying to accomplish. It requires you to plant a few more plants, but Brookfield has given us the okay to invest in this landscaping plan in that way.
And now, did I hear you say that you've done some of this landscaping work already?
No,
Oh, okay.
No, no.
I thought, I didn't think so. but-
no,
Okay.
we have not.
And that will all be, as per the town, irrigated? The plantings will be irrigated and,
So we have planted, these buffers will be irrigated until they establish. But generally speaking, these type of facilities don't have irrigation. However, we've been asked to put in some planting beds around the building to add green up close to the building. And those will have to be irrigated to survive. So I think there'll be a mix here of some irrigated, but typically these heavily landscaped areas, once they're established, should not need normal irrigation.
okay.
And it's your intention that if any of the shrubs become diseased, die, or whatever, they'll be immediately replaced?
Yes, I think we're obligated. So there's a warranty that comes with the planting that gets us out to a certain point. When I think by virtue of you hopefully approving a plan, Brookfield is obligated to make sure the site is maintained with that planting.
Okay, you good? Okay.
With that, I'm going to let Lou show you what a beautiful building they intend to build. Thanks, Chuck.
All right. Good evening. My name is Lou DiGiacomo. I'm a Senior Associate Development Manager with Brookfield Properties. My team specifically covers the industrial sector in what we call the Northeast region, but it really ranges everywhere from the Mid-Atlantic all the way as far north as Boston, but the hub of our work is here in New York and in New Jersey. As Judy mentioned before, what our main goal is to own, develop, and operate the highest quality real estate in all sectors of real estate, so mixed use, residential, retail, and in our case, industrial. Across our whole portfolio, almost the entire portfolio is built speculatively, including this building. That means we do not have a tenant in place right now. We do not have a tenant that's on the hook. We are building this speculatively, but the goal is to design it in a way that we are going to be attracting the highest quality type of tenant. So think Fortune 500 types of quality tenants. Right now in our portfolio are the likes of Kellogg's, Home Depot, Pepsi, Nissan, Target, those types of companies. You'll see, as Judy mentioned before, and as you can see from the rendering here, we try to design these buildings in a way that they don't resemble the typical industrial building that you're used to seeing. They more resemble a kind of Class A state-of-the-art office building. So this specific development that we're proposing is a 207,237 square foot office building. While we are having 12,400 square feet of office space approved, day one, we'll be building approximately 4,800 square feet of office space at the main entrance, and then approximately 1,000 square foot shipping office as well. Those offices will be comprised of conference rooms, workstation areas, utility rooms, bathrooms, a lobby, and then the rest of it will be, left for the tenant to fit out as they see fit. The main structure of the building is precast concrete walls. There's steel columns, steel roof framing, and metal decking. So that's the structure. The facade is a textured paint on the concrete. There's storefront glazing, as you can see in the photo here. There's decked-in composite stone panels to kind of liven up the entrances. And you'll see, a canopy at the entrance with sunshades over the windows that are all steel as well. The paint scheme includes 4 different shades that are kind of dynamically spread out to provide some life to the building, as I mentioned before. We also have overlapping panels and reveals to create some depth and aesthetic interest to make this building not look like the typical industrial buildings that you're used to seeing. As Chuck mentioned, the truck court will be facing the west side of the site, so towards New South Road, but it will be heavily screened by the landscaping buffer and the fence. And you saw that visual before where, once the trees are fully mature, you won't be able to, see the building easily. For our developments, one of the things that we try to do is be at the forefront of building sustainably, right? Judy mentioned that we build across our whole portfolio LEED certified buildings. So LEED is leadership in energy and environmental design. So that means any of the products and materials that go into our building need to meet the parameters of a LEED certified product. So that's something that we really pride ourselves on, and our entire portfolio is LEED certified, including this building. We'll have electrical vehicle charging stations. And then I know you mentioned you had some interest in the solar. So we put in a bunch of infrastructure at the start to be able to support a solar roof. We have a partner that we work with who will apply under separate coverage to install solar panels on that roof. But it's a little bit different than you installing solar panels on the roof of your residential home, let's say. So you can power your home off of the power produced by those panels. We would be working with a partner who provides that power back to the grid. So that will go back to the grid, and you can offset, you could use that community solar, a clean energy way to get power at a reduced cost to the typical local utility rates. So it's providing clean power back to the grid for the community to use. A building of this size could typically provide 1 to 2 megawatts of power. So what does that mean, right? That's the equivalent of 200 to 400 homes being able to have their homes powered, offset by the solar that we could provide on this roof. So next, and I think is quite interesting, most of the same team, the Brookfield team, Judy and the Vercelli team, the Langen team, all worked on a project about 15, 20 minutes from here in Uniondale. This is some pictures of the project. Very closely resembles what the renderings were that I showed you before. This is a 102,000 square foot building. These photos are from about a month and a half ago. We started construction in May of 2022 and are set to be complete at the end of this month. So we'll be turning this over for occupancy, hopefully by month end, knock on wood. Aside from that, we're really excited to be, redeveloping a property that's been left vacant for several years into a Class A state-of-the-art industrial facility. That's the closure of my presentation. If you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Otherwise, I'd be passing it off to our traffic engineer, Eric.
And you said that this building, the last building, I'm just looking at the roof.
Mm-hmm.
This one does not have solar panel, I take it.
So we build the structure of the roof to be able to withstand the additional weight of solar panel installation. And then we have a partner through Brookfield who will apply for under separate coverage to put the solar panels on the roof, but they have to work with PSE&G, whoever the local utility provider is, to be able to get the approvals to do that. So-
The only reason I'm asking is because it doesn't look like there's a very high parapet around the edge of the building.
Yes.
To cover, I don't know, the
Yeah.
height of the solar panels. I mean, if you look at the ones in the field, they're
Yeah.
probably 6 feet.
Yep.
I think that would just detract from the appearance of your lovely building.
You are right. So the setback requirements are typically about 10 feet from the parapet. So you figure you have to subtract that from the overall footprint of the building. You have to go 10 feet in because of the parapet height not being tall enough from a safety perspective. But we can kind of fit out that interior portion of the building with solar panels. This one's 100,000 square feet, so you think about double the size of this, you're going to be able to get a much more substantial portion of the footprint.
Okay.
Any other questions?
What's the timeline for the construction?
It's 14 months,
14 months?
yeah. And that's, I would say that's conservative.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Eric?
We do have the traffic engineer here, but if the board has specific questions, we're happy to have them answered. But I would point out that this application had undergone review, obviously, by P&D and recommended approval of the application, and DER conducted a very extensive review of this application. They issued a 43-page report, which I'm holding here, analyzing all the various potential impacts, aesthetics, traffic, parking, lighting, noise, et cetera. And the town did hire LKMA Associates to look at our traffic engineer's study. We did a full traffic impact study, parking analysis, and in that recommendation of negative declaration that the DER issued on February 21st, 2023, DER stated that they concur with the conclusion of the licensed traffic engineer from LKMA that the proposed development of this property will not have a significant adverse impact on local traffic or parking conditions, nor other transportation resources in the town of Oyster Bay in accordance with SECRA. So this project has really been through extensive analysis, and there were back and forth comments issued by DER, responses from the applicant, and as was indicated, we had a noise expert, a traffic engineer, our professional engineers. So we are very confident that everything's been looked at, and obviously the town's DER agrees with that, and they've recommended that this board adopt a negative declaration on the application. So, and I also understand that Nassau County Planning Commission recommended local determination. So that really concludes our presentation. If the board has any questions, we're happy to answer any further questions. And if you want to hear about the traffic, we can, but I think that the town's traffic consultants looked at this and...
The guy came from Jersey.
I know. I know. He did, twice. Twice. We're happy to have him present, but...
Go ahead. We got a question.
You got a question for him? Okay, make his trip worth it. Okay,
Commerce Place.
come on, Eric.
Yeah, name and company, address.
I'm Eric Valoria with Langen Engineering. I'm a traffic engineer on the project.
Commerce Place. Even here on the photo that we're looking down on it, there seems to be parking on both sides of the street. I'm visually looking at it. It seems to narrow the street quite a bit. And I was wondering how it's going to affect the trucks coming in and out of that, the turning radius, especially on the corner of New South Road and coming into Commerce Place. Has any changes been made to the road or traffic lights up there, anything like that?
There are no changes proposed to the roadway, and we've been out there and witnessed trucks be able to maneuver the intersection without affecting traffic along New South Road.
Okay, and the parking on Commerce then belongs to the other buildings now, and that's not going to create an issue?
I'm gonna help him out because you're asking him a question that we looked at together. So as he said, part of our traffic study is actually new technology. Instead of having people out there with clickers, we put cameras up. So not only do we our counts that way, but we can see the movements. A couple things that you're noticing in the pictures that you see is the parking along either side of the road. That has changed significantly since one of the neighboring uses that had a lot of vans coming and going from this area no longer is there. So actually, this road is very wide from a pavement perspective. And we've seen trucks exiting this driveway and being able to maneuver out into New South Road without affecting the oncoming traffic. So I think the answer is the parking problem has been reduced significantly, one. Two, this is paved almost to its limit. So the paved area is 30-plus feet. And the trucks have the leeway, because it's not a busy street, to be able to kind of maneuver out and make the swing to make the turn. So we feel, and we presented information that substantiates that, yes, it's tight, but it works.
I just have a question about the access points. I understand that the one from New South Road is in and out. Okay?
Correct.
The first one along, what is it, Commercial?
Commerce.
Whatever. That is solely for trucks?
It is not solely for trucks, it is for passenger cars as well. But
But
we
that-
anticipate the majority of them to be entering from New South Road and also to the back eastern
The trucks
driveway.
to be entering from New South?
No. Trucks will enter from the western driveway on
Okay.
Commerce, and
Okay.
then passenger vehicles are allowed to enter, but we anticipate the majority of them to enter on the eastern driveway on Commerce and on the driveway on New South
All
Road.
right, now the second curb cut on Commerce, is that for residential only? I mean, not residential.
Passenger
but,
vehicles only,
you know,
correct.
Yeah, for passenger cars only?
Mhm.
And now it's only out, or is it in and out?
Full movement.
I'm sorry?
Enter and exit, yes.
Entering and exiting? Okay, I just can't see any arrows over there, that's all on this one. Okay, all right, because otherwise the people would have to go all the way around the building to, you know, to make that worthwhile. Okay.
Any other questions?
No? Okay.
All right, thank you.
Do you want to ask our environmental consultant a question? No, just kidding. I'm kidding. They travel too. No, that
can't
concludes
see
our
him behind the chair.
presentation. They're dying to speak. No, just
So
there.
if you're,
That
all right,
concludes.
is there any questions from the board? If not, anyone in the audience wish to comment or speak? Yes, come forward, please. Yeah, please, come up, state your name and address.
Hi, how's everyone? My name is Bilal Bakhtari. I actually work on Commerce Place. And one of the statements made.
Your address?
My home address?
Yeah,
394 Woodbury Road, Woodbury. And the statement that there is no traffic or parking on Commerce Place is simply not true. There was Amazon trucks that used to have a lot of people parking on that, and that made it absolutely packed, where trucks they would spend, almost half an hour on this road trying to get in to do laps around. That did die down a little bit, but there's still a lot of cars on it, and it's a very tight road. Not only does Commerce Place have traffic of trucks going in and out from 8 o'clock to 6 o'clock, there's constant trucks going in and out of there. There's actually a company right across New South Road that also has trucks coming in and out. I believe it's some type of construction company. So I think that those two entrances that they're planning on putting in Commerce is going to negatively affect a lot of the businesses that are already existing in that cul-de-sac and along that road.
okay.
Want to respond to that?
Go ahead. You want to?
Want to address that?
Yeah.
I apologize if my comment about the parking suggested that there wasn't any. That's not the case. He's correct. Parking is permitted along the roads. We did a traffic study which monitored the trucks coming and going on Commerce Place, the traffic along New South Road. We understand and analyze the distribution of that existing traffic, and then we overlaid on top of it our projected distribution. We have done, I have probably 15 million square feet of warehouse space in which we've analyzed traffic data for, so we understand it. And when we put the two together, existing traffic and hours, and the distribution of hours, the conclusion from the study is clear, and your own consultants have verified this, that we don't significantly affect the current traffic patterns in the area. Do we add trucks? Yes. Do we add car traffic? Yes. But there's a distribution to that is very different than lots of other uses. For example, during the peak AM hour, the rush hour along those two roads, in the morning and in the evening, our traffic doesn't peak at the same time. As I said before, we want nothing to do with putting truck traffic on the streets during the peak hours. So the distribution of traffic is very important to understand relative to this use. And again, I understand that there are trucks coming in and out. It's an industrial area. They travel along New South Road. But I can also tell you that our study took those all into account and has demonstrated that the net impact will not substantially affect the public that uses New South Road now.
Okay.
I've also noticed, it's happened a couple times where the congestion that's already on New South Road from the existing companies has actually kind of caused cars to be congested on the train tracks where they have nowhere to go and they have to basically swerve out of their lane of traffic just to get off of the train tracks when the barriers come down. So, I mean, I don't know how they're going to promise that that there won't be an increase in traffic on those peak times, especially when a lot of residential cars
They're
are
not
coming
at
through.
peak times.
But you guys
said
are,
they're not at
you
peak
guys are going
times,
for
sir.
24/7, correct?
Yeah, but they're not at peak times, their traffic. Their traffic is different than your traffic.
In the traffic study, is there a breakdown of trips generated during certain hours? Maybe you can provide that for our resident and the board?
So they would be, I mean, leasing out the warehouse to tenants, correct? Wouldn't the tenants be in charge of scheduling their trucks when they're gonna be receiving certain, shipments in and out? So how could they, make sure that it won't be from the times of 8 to 6 and a majority of it not happening then?
Well, you want to share your data?
So during the peak hour, which is in the, I think it's 8 to 9 on that road in the morning, I think our study suggests that there'll be 2 to 3 trucks added to that pattern in that hour. So again, we have truck traffic, we have car traffic. It's just distributed differently. So you will notice a truck or two an hour coming out of our facility at certain times. And it extends across the entire 24-hour period, assuming we get the variance to go for 24 hours. So the idea that we create any kind of focused traffic here is not how this type of facility operates. That's the best that I can explain it to you. We have a very small number of total trip generation that occurs. For example, in the peak AM, I think it's 4 in and 9 go out. There's 13 vehicles in the peak AM hour. It's a small amount. That's the best way I can explain it to you.
Is it gonna be solely limited to trailer trucks, or will you have box trucks in there, or you don't know at this time?
So we don't know. So typically, when we talk about trucks, we talk about tractor trailers, because that's the conservative approach to the analysis. They may find a tenant who has a variety of trucks, but it typically doesn't affect the number as they come and go from a facility like this. You have to understand that the numbers that we project for these type of uses are based on 100 warehouse projects where they've studied the actual distribution of traffic from. So it's a really well-based understanding of generally how traffic comes and goes from a facility like this.
Also, from what I'm gathering along Commerce, is there curbside parking?
Yes.
Is that it?
It's hard to believe, but there is. There's,
And now is-
parking on both sides is permitted.
Okay, now, is that a town road, Scott, or do you know?
Commerce, off the top of my head, I don't know.
Because if
Believe
it
it
were a
is.
town road,
It's not a county
and
road.
you have the property right next to it, you could apply to the town for a parking signs.
There are parking signs, I'm sorry.
So parking is permitted at certain points along it.
Right.
We didn't want to complicate our application with making it contingent on no parking signs being put up. From our use, we have way more than enough parking on our site to accommodate any tenant that we would ever get. So we have no interest or need for that street parking, but we also didn't want to be the ones to get in a situation where we were relying on it being eliminated for our project. That makes sense.
But you may be amenable to doing that.
Sure.
Should the parking cause problems
problem.
with your tractor trailers coming in and out and whatever.
Yes, absolutely. I got the
At
nod
a
from
later
the.
date. I'm
at a
not
later
saying
date.
you have to do it
Right.
right now, but,
We
you
would
know,
be glad
it is
to,
an option for you.
yes,
And if you want to do both sides, you could apply for both sides. If you want to do one side,
Yes.
whatever. And that might ease the congestion for everybody.
yeah, it would, if anything, it will allow for improved visibility at that intersection. So I believe it would make things better. They work in their current condition, and my client has said they'd be glad to keep that as a option to do.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chuck.
Okay,
You have any
thank you.
other comments?
So I'm just curious, so from the times of 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., can you give me a rough estimate of how many trucks that would be coming in down that road?
I can't give that exact number, but daily, we're expecting 62. 62 throughout 24 hours.
24 hours.
Yep.
That sounds like a pretty large amount. I've seen, maybe 3 or 4 trucks, those have an issue.
Yeah, 24 hours.
That road themselves.
I got a building that is 207,000 square feet, and over a day's 24-hour periods, we project 64 trucks coming and going, over a 24-hour period.
Down to very time.
I don't know that, so I'd be glad to answer questions from the board.
Your traffic study covers everything.
Yes.
I mean, coming and going, parking, parked cars.
Trucks,
You
cars.
cover everything.
Correct.
Okay,
Yes, it does.
that's all.
There's no impact on level of service. The perception of traffic is true, but the study demonstrates that there's no negative impact.
Remember, you're dealing with a piece of parcel here that's empty now. I mean, there isn't any activity going on. So it's going to generate something. So they were willing to look into the parking, as Lou suggested, no parking signs or what have you at certain hours, so,
There are parking signs on it, but it's only around the cul-de-sac area of it, and then they stop off as it straightens out.
okay. Well, that's something they can,
That's-
can look into and apply for down the road.
It's right down the road.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone else wish to speak on the application?
I have nothing further to add. I would just point out, actually, for the record, I did actually view the videos showing the trucks that leave Commerce and can safely exit the site, exit that street, I should say, onto New South Road. So just for the record, I personally saw the videos. And again, our traffic engineer submitted an extensive traffic study analyzing various intersections nearby, and we demonstrated that levels of service will not be diminished, and LKM, the town's hired traffic engineer, agreed with our results and has looked at this extensively.
Okay. And you keep the option in mind.
Yeah, we're open to it, but we
Okay.
have enough parking on site. We comply with the town parking requirements, and certainly if it becomes an issue, it sounds like it's an issue for another property owner, but if it should become an issue, we'll certainly entertain it.
Okay. Anyone else wish to speak? Thank you.
Thank you.
With that, I'll entertain a motion on this application.
I'll make a motion that the site plans be approved as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Mr. Byrne?
Okay, on the motion by Member Warner, seconded by Member Di Leonardo. Chairman Stanko.
Aye.
Member Di Leonardo.
Aye.
Member Chabina.
Aye.
Member Warner.
Aye.
Member Castellane.
Aye.
Member Berners, aye. Chairman, the motion passes.
Okay, thank you very much. And thank you.
Thank you very
all for your
much, again, thank you.
application. Safe ride back.
Have a good night.
Anybody leaving Oyster Bay. Thank you. Okay. Second application this evening is Gabrelli Truck Sales, 915 South Oyster Bay Road, Bethpage, New York, 11714. The applicant is seeking a site plan approval from the Planning Advisory Board in accordance with the town's site design standards. This site plan application involves proposed modifications to the parking layout and other associated site improvements in order to operate a motor vehicle dealership in an existing one-story, 17,820 square foot building. The proposed use for the subject property is a permitted use pursuant to Chapter 246, Table 5.2 of the Code of the Town of Oyster Bay. And Mr. Byrne, do we have any correspondence on this application?
Yes, Chairman. We have a memo from the Zoning Division dated October 12, 2021, stating the subject property located at 915 South Oyster Bay Road in Bethpage, New York, 11714, has a Nassau County land and tax map designation of Section 46, Block G, Lot 94, and is located within the LI Light Industry Zoning District. We have a memo from the Department of Environmental Resources dated January 31st, 2023, classifying this project as a Type 2 for the purposes of seeker. We have a memo from the Code Enforcement Bureau dated October 12, 2021, stating there are no open code cases on the subject property. Chairman, since this memo is several months old, the Planning Division contacted the Code Enforcement Bureau this week, and there are currently no open code cases. We have a memo from the town's Department of Public Works Highway Division dated October 19th, 2021, and the Engineering Division dated April 13th, 2022, stating they have reviewed the plans and have no objections. We have a memo from the Nassau County Department of Public Works dated July 18th, 2022, stating that pursuant to General Municipal Law 230-F, the plans have been approved as noted. We have a memo from the Nassau County Planning Commission dated March 14th, 2023, recommending local determination for this project. We have a memo from the Planning Division dated April 10th, 2023, stating the required parking for the subject property is 104 parking spaces, and 104 parking spaces have been provided. We have a memo from the Planning Division dated April 10th, 2023, stating the division has conducted a review in accordance with Chapter 246, Section 6, Site Plan Review of the Code of the Town of Oyster Bay, and is referring the site plan to the Planning Advisory Board for appropriate action. And we have the affidavit of sign posting and affidavit of mailing from the applicant.
Okay. Good evening.
Can I just approach and
Oh.
get these up?
Great idea.
Makes it a little easier to see. So good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Anthony Guardino. I'm a partner with the law firm of Farrell Fritz in Hauppauge. I represent Gabrielli Truck Sales, which is before you tonight. They are seeking site plan approval to convert an existing building and parking lot, which is located at 915 South Oyster Bay Road in Bethpage, into a motor vehicle dealership for truck sales, leasing, rental, and service. A motor vehicle dealership is permitted in the district. Also presenting with me tonight, we have John Gursky and Steve Kaplan, both from H2M Engineers. Paul Avento, the CFO of Gabrielli, was here at the last meeting, and he was actually traveling. He had a scheduled vacation. I told him I didn't think he needed to be here. I hope I'm right.
He's missing out.
I hope I'm right. I know he really wanted to be here, but I didn't want him to change his plans, obviously. So Gabrielli purchased the site in 2020 after the town actually was going to buy it and use it as its DPW site when there was a thought that trucks might be displaced from 150 Miller Place in Syosset. The property is about a little more than 2.5 acres, 2.63 acres, located on the east side of South Oyster Bay Road, about 1,800 feet south of its intersection with Stewart Avenue. The site has about 240 feet of frontage on South Oyster Bay Road, and it's served by 2 curb cuts that provide access to the front and rear of the building. The site is zoned, well, we had that map up that Judy had up there, was good because we're on that same drawing. It is in the light industrial area in Bethpage. It is improved with a 1-story, 17,600 square foot brick and frame building that is currently undergoing some minor interior alterations, but it is vacant and is not being used right now. The building was originally constructed by Grumman Corporation in 1955 and was used for the servicing of trucks and other equipment. The property was later conveyed to Nassau County and used by the county until it was declared to be surplus and then offered for sale. Given its history as a Grumman facility and then later a county facility, that kind of explains why the site is non-compliant now. It's woefully inadequate under the town code, particularly with respect to parking. The adjoining properties in all directions are zoned either light industrial or general business district, and all are improved with either industrial or commercial uses. There is still a Northrop Grumman facility and parking lots that surround the site to the south and the east. And then to the west, across South Oyster Bay Road, there's a Canco's Tile and Stone showroom and warehouse, an Iron Mountain warehouse, and then an L&L painting company which provides painting services, commercial painting services. All of those uses are in the light industrial district. To the north, we have an extended stay hotel, which is located in the general business district. And all of those photos are in your booklet as Exhibit 6. There are no single-family homes anywhere near this facility. The closest home is located on Lion Court, which is to the north. It's about 1,000 feet away. Since the building was constructed and used as a vehicle service facility, Gabrielli now seeks this change of use. That's why we're here today. And site plan approval to allow the site to be used for not only servicing of trucks, but actually to sell the trucks. So motor vehicle dealership approval. The facility will operate between Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. and on Saturdays from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. The facility will not be open on the weekend, on Sundays. Gabrielli operates a similar facility right across the street at 880 South Oyster Bay Road, so the town should be familiar with the operation. It's a very similar operation, just diagonally across the street. What Gabrielli is proposing for this particular site is a modification and repaving of the existing parking lot to create a total of 104 parking spaces for customer vehicles as well as for trucks that are being sold, rented, or serviced. The 104 spaces now complies with the parking requirements for this use of the building. Other site modifications include the installation of drainage infrastructure with enough capacity to meet both the town and the county's drainage requirements. This will be a vast improvement over the existing conditions, which again were woefully deficient. Gabrielli will be adding a significant amount of landscaping around the perimeter of the property and 2 parking lot islands and black vinyl slats on the existing chain link fence along the sides and rear of the property. That should improve the appearance of the property. They are proposing to plant a total of 130 trees on the site. That's 17 deciduous trees, 85 evergreen trees, and 28 shrubs. There will be some minor modifications to the building, but generally the building's going to look the way it looks now. There's going to be replacement of some windows and some overhead doors. Some structural elements may be altered a little bit, but basically the building's going to look like it looks today. It's just going to look a lot nicer. And again, the use is permitted in this zone, and the proposal that you have before you tonight fully complies with all of the zoning requirements. So we're not asking for any relief at all. And that's basically my presentation. John, you want to just maybe go into a little more detail about the site plan? Sure.
Although Anthony did a great job. John Gursky, I'm senior site planner with H2M Architects Engineers at 538 Broad Hollow Road in Melville. As Anthony said, it's a 2.63 acre site. If you can see that site plan, I know that you have one in front of you. The darker areas are the asphalt areas of the site. The lighter areas of the site are concrete paved surfaces that are 8 to 10 inches thick. So in order to do the site improvements on this site, drainage, utilities, and landscaping, we had to avoid those areas. We didn't want to take that up. As you know, Grumman built excellent facilities for heavy traffic, and we didn't want to take any of that up. So new utilities will be proposed, water, electric, just to upgrade the systems that are in the building. We did receive the 239F approval from Nassau County, wherein they made exits to the right and to the north out of the site, no exits left crossing traffic. You can't enter from the north, turning into the site, crossing traffic, but exiting the site, you'll be exiting north, and no left turns. Anthony did tell you that the landscaping would be taken care of. There is a buffer zone on the northern side where there's a hotel that exists, and slats in the rear fencing, vinyl slats in the rear fencing, because that is a large Grumman parking lot. This was connected to that large Grumman parking lot, and the slats should be sufficient in the rear of that building. So unless you have any more questions for me, or
I was just interested why you did such a nice job on landscaping on the north side of the property, and you don't have anything on the, what is it, the east side and the south side?
well, the east side and the south side is very tight. There's an existing fence, and the curving is 2 feet from that fence. There really isn't an opportunity to landscape the south side, so that's why we chose the vinyl slats in the fence as that barrier. In the rear, it's a parking lot that is run by Grumman. The transition from our parking lot to their parking lot, since it's all asphalt now, introducing a planting strip in that area would have diminished the parking area that we would have for truck movements and truck parking. So we opted for the vinyl slats in that area since it is an industrial use behind it.
And you said there was 104 parking spaces?
I believe 103, yep.
Oh, 103, 104. Close enough.
But
I'm not questioning. I'm just questioning. That's not for passenger vehicles. That's
No, it's not. It's a
for
different,
trucks
yeah.
and passenger vehicles.
For the, passenger vehicles for the employees and any
It
purchasers.
doesn't look like there's 104 spots that I'm looking at. I
okay.
didn't count them, but
I guess we can count them. The front yard has parking spaces also. 22, 32, 22, 7, 8, 10,
31.
and 2. Let's see, that's 12, 20, 30. $37, $47, $50, $72, $104 Anthony was right, 104.
Okay.
They're a combination of car parking and truck parking spaces.
And will the building will still retain that red brick facade?
Yes. It's- The improvements to the building will be, new doors, because these are ancient doors, and upgrades to the interior, a lot more bathrooms.
And I can't tell from this, but I assume that your exit from the north and from the south would have adequate signage to indicate that right turns only?
Yes, yeah, DPW had us put it in the cross on the western side of South River Bay also, as you exit the site.
Just when you're looking for more sales now, are you going to have a showroom as part of this?
No,
or just
there's no showroom of trucks in the building, it's just, they park their vehicles out in the front,
Might be
in
out
those
front
parking
just as
spaces.
they are
yeah.
now.
It's a little bit different creature than an automobile dealership, because you usually have appointments to come and see these. There's not a lot of public interest in trucks.
Do the trucks for sale get driven to the site, or are they,
I'm sorry?
do the trucks to the site get driven, the trucks that are for sale? How do they get to the site? Do they get towed to the site? Do they drive to the site?
No, typically they're driven.
Driven?
Will there be an inventory of sales vehicles on the site?
They have 33 spaces for sales vehicles designated for that purpose. So there will be an inventory on site.
But that'll be a combination of box trucks and horses,
Yeah, they don't sell tractor trailers
trailers,
here. It would be the
tractors.
tractors, but not the trailer
Okay.
and box trucks, yeah. And again, they have facilities across the street, which they do the same thing.
And there will be service also done on the
Also
site.
service, yeah, because the building historically has been a service center.
Any new signs you're considering, or just
There is
your
a
sign on the
ground
building?
sign
Just on the
proposed,
building?
and it's similar to the ones that cross the street. It's actually the same sign as the ones that they have at their facilities across the street. One single sign at the two-way entrance on the south side. And we did work with planning on placing that sign adequate location.
Anything? James, anything down there? Good? Okay, anything else on the application?
Essentially our precedent.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak, anyone wish to speak on the application? There being none, I'll entertain a motion. Want to make the motion? No, I'm not making, I'll entertain a motion, means you make the motion. All right, I need a second. if you make-
Second.
Second, James, okay. Okay, Mr. Byrne?
Okay, on the motion by Member Chabina, seconded by Member Castellane, Chairman Stenko,
Aye.
Member Di Leonardo,
Aye.
Member Chabina,
Aye.
Member Warner,
Aye.
Member Castellane,
All right.
Member Byrne is aye. Chairman, the motion passes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Okay.
You too, Anthony.
And with
Good seeing
that,
you.
motion to adjourn. No, I don't know if I can make a motion. Can I make a motion? I don't know, I'll let you guys. Can I make a motion? Yeah, maybe one day I'll make a motion. Okay, thank you. So you think we have one next month? The thumbs up? Okay, oh, okay. What is it, this one? Which one? The bottom one? Bottom? Oh. How'd you like this?
Nice to meet you. Good night.
See you next month. Thanks, guys.
Keep an eye on Chris.